Welcome back to the Wrestling Rewind with your host Max.
I'm Jay.
And what we got for you this week is the 1997 Royal Rumble. And that took place on January 19th, 1997. The attendance for this one was 60,477 people, which was the highest for a Royal Rumble until this year's 2025's Royal Rumble, which did 70,343. So this mark here set the record for Royal Rumble attendance for almost 30 years. Pretty impressive.
That's crazy.
And the pay-per-view buys for this, 244,000 buys. So this was actually a pretty good turnout for them. So people were looking forward to this one. They did a good job with it.
Mm-hmm.
So our first match is Goldust with Marlena versus Hunter Hearst Helmsley with a returning Mr. Hughes.
It's so random, right?
And don't get used to seeing him. I believe this is the only time we'll see him with Triple H.
It is.
They must have not liked what they saw in this match. We'll see if what he did in this match is offensive enough to make him not come back. But this is for the Intercontinental title.
I do want to talk about Goldust does try like a diving crossbody. Triple H ducks out the way and Goldust takes a decent spill to the outside.
Vince also says on commentary that Mr. Hughes is Helmsley's butler. But while they're outside the ring, Helmsley goes for the jumping high knee that he does, but Goldust dodges it. Helmsley hits the barricade. Goldust grabs the ring steps and he hits Helmsley with it. No disqualification. The commentary team tells us that is a discretionary call by the referee. Whatever works. But eventually Goldust gets the figure four on Helmsley, which is a new one for Goldust. You don't really see him bust out a figure four. And then Goldust starts working Helmsley's leg for a while. The match turns when Goldust tries to do that crossbody you talked about. Hunter Hearst Helmsley ducks it and Goldust crashes, lands aside the ring. Helmsley grabs Marlena's chair and he goes to hit Goldust with it, but the ref grabs the chair out of Helmsley's hands, which seems a little unfair after what Goldust got away with a little earlier. That's some favoritism by the ref if I've ever seen it. But also during this match, we somehow have time to interview some country singer in the middle of this match. I don't even have what he said. Nothing important was said. It was pointless. I just could not believe they did an interview with somebody during the middle of a match. Don't understand why they did that. But anyways, later on, Mr. Hughes slides a chair into the ring while the ref is checking on Goldust. Marlena sees this cheating happening, so she jumps in the apron. So Helmsley grabs Marlena and gives her a smooch. Helmsley then grabs the Intercontinental title and he goes to hit Goldust with it, but Goldust punches Hunter. Then he picks up the Intercontinental title and he hits Helmsley with it and he goes for the pin, but Mr. Hughes grabs Helmsley and pulls him out of the ring to break the pin. Goldust punches Mr. Hughes and Helmsley takes advantage of this distraction and he pedigrees Goldust for the win. This match was 16 minutes and 50 seconds. I thought it was a decent match, but I thought they could have shaved off at least 5 minutes.
Yeah, I gave it a 2.
I gave it 2.5.
Meltzer gave it a 2 as well. Not the most offensive match, but definitely not one you'd recommend to anyone.
No. But then after the match, we go to a pre-recorded promo from Bret Hart. Bret Hart says he has always been a marked man, but he has already taken too many steps back, and tonight there will be no stopping him, and he will be the last man standing in the Royal Rumble. And then we go to a video for Mankind, who says that he sees the Royal Rumble as a chance to hurt a lot of people, and he will enjoy hurting those people. All right, just a little advertising for that Royal Rumble coming up. But our second match is Farouk with the Nation of Domination versus Ahmed Johnson. And when Farouk comes out, he's holding a belt, not a title belt, a belt you get whoopings with. But for the match, Ahmed starts off red hot. He won't even let Farouk take off the pants he wears over his ring gear. But don't worry about that. Ahmed helps him. He rips the pants off of Farouk. Farouk grabs the belt that he brought with him, but the ref stops him from using it. But Ahmed gets his hands on that belt and he starts whipping Farouk with it, and the ref does nothing about it. I don't blame your ref. I wouldn't want to get in the way of that either. But the refs are letting a lot of stuff go so far in this Royal Rumbles. The rough day from officials is not going to end, as we'll see maybe later in the Royal Rumble.
No, most definitely not.
But during a distraction, Farouk grabs a chair and he stands it up and he scoop slams Ahmed right on his injured kidney. And of course, commentary sells that as a big deal.
I like that.
And then later, Ahmed Johnson lands an electric chair drop. Farouk always sells those electric chair drops.
That was a nice electric chair drop. The crowd goes nuts for the electric chair drop as well. He picks him up pretty easily, too.
Mm-hmm. But then later on, Farouk goes to the top rope and he goes to clothesline Ahmed, but Ahmed catches him with a power slam, which looked pretty good. We'll see another one of those later, too. Ahmed then goes for a Ludez press, but Farouk catches him with his spine buster. Always love Farouk's spine buster. But shortly after, Ahmed hits a spine buster of his own, and then he motions for the Pearl River Plunge, but the Nation then runs out to the ring, and the ref calls for the bell. They didn't even do anything yet, but he calls for the bell.
No, he let him go for a chair, but the second someone else comes out, it's DQ.
Yeah, ring that bell. Ahmed takes care of the Nation members, and then he charges after Farouk as he is walking away, but another member of the Nation comes up and attacks Ahmed. Ahmed then hits the Pearl River Plunge through the table in a great looking spot.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is very good. One of Ahmed's best spots in his wrestling career, I'd say. So
the crowd was all about Ahmed Johnson this match.
Oh, yeah. The match overall, I thought was a little boring, but it was not long. It was 8 minutes and 48 seconds. And I did like some of the power moves in it. I do think it's a little lame to have a DQ finish on a pay-per-view. But like you said, the table spot at the end was really well done. Overall, I gave the match a 2 out of 5.
I give it 1 star. There are some good moves, but overall, no.
Not feeling it.
What'd you give it?
I gave it a 2.
I also gave it 1.5.
He split the difference.
Yes. Before the Undertaker match, they do have Todd
yes.
Pettengill interview the Nation, and basically it's Farouk berating the Nation members for not helping enough. And what's funny is like D'Lo is in the background and he looks like worried. It's pretty funny. Farouk then warns Ahmed that he'll put him away if he sees him in the Rumble. And, he calls Ahmed to Uncle Tom and leaves. And what's interesting is Todd Pettengill is sporting a goatee, and I think it's just an awful look for him.
Yeah, he doesn't keep it either. We also get one of the Royal Rumble promos. This one with Terry Funk. He says he is Texas bred and Texas fed, and he is ready to rumble. So we will be getting Terry Funk. That's always good. But then we'll go to our third match, and that is Vader versus The Undertaker. Vince on commentary mentions that Cornette is not with Vader tonight because he must be a little scared of The Undertaker. I'd say so because Undertaker tombstoned Cornette recently on Superstar, so I don't think he wants any of that. For this one, I don't know how they keep it for long, but during The Undertaker's entrance, they add some wind effects to it, which got my nerves a little bit.
Yeah, it was loud.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it got annoying to me. But anyways, we'll go to the match. At one point, Undertaker goes for old school, but Vader grabs the ropes, and Undertaker lands with the rope between his legs. Vader continues to attack the Undertaker's loins, and he low blows Undertaker, but the ref didn't see it. Again, refs are having a bad day. But then also during this match, we go to an interview with a fan, and they talk about how she...
Random fan.
Yeah, she talks about how she saved money babysitting to get to the Royal Rumble. What the hell are we doing here? Go back to the fucking match.
I don't know. Some strange decisions going on.
This is Undertaker versus Vader. These aren't two jobbers in the ring. So I don't get that. But we'll go back to the match, and we see the Undertaker hit a back suplex on Vader. And then later on...
Undertaker also hits a certified Scoopy.
Certified Scoopy alert.
I love Undertaker's Scoop Slam.
It's pretty solid, and to do it on Vader is impressive. And then later on, we also get a nice spot where Vader goes to the top turnbuckle. He goes to dive at the Undertaker, who catches him with a power slam, similar to what we saw in the last match, but this one was also very well done. We then later see Paul Bearer make his way to the ring after the Undertaker chokeslams Vader. The Undertaker sees Paul Bearer coming, and he leaves the ring, and he punches Bearer, and he goes to chokeslam him, but Vader wakes back up, and he bangs the Undertaker's head off of the ring steps, and Paul Bearer hits the Undertaker with the urn. Again, no disqualification. They get the Undertaker in the ring, and Vader hits the Vader Bomb for the win, and he leaves the ring with his arm around Paul Bearer. So now no more Cornette with Vader, it is Paul Bearer.
Undertaker wakes up, and he has a problem with the ref, and he is the recipient of a chokeslam.
Has to be done. But I was surprised to see Vader win this match. I thought Undertaker would surely win.
Same.
So again, another big win by Vader, and he gets to be with Paul Bearer. So we'll see how that works out.
With how bad people talk about Vader's run, he does beat a bunch of people. I mean, he pinned Shawn Michaels, he's pinned The Undertaker, he's pinned Bret Hart.
But for this match, I would say that it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. They gave it 13 minutes and 19 seconds. I won't say it was bad, but another issue is that it didn't have much of a storyline to prop it up. It does now with Paul Bearer joining Vader. So that helps give it a little something. But before this, I don't think they did enough to really warrant a pay-per-view match.
I gave it a 2.
I gave it a 1 3/4.
And then I also gave it 1 1/4.
We know it wasn't that great, but has some decent moments. Could have been better. But we'll move on to some more pre-recorded videos for the Royal Rumble. We have a Stone Cold pre-recorded message. He says he isn't talking to anybody, and he tells the camera crew they can stick it. Then we go to one for Bulldog. Bulldog says he is going to be making history tonight by winning the Royal Rumble because he is bizarre. That's Goldust's thing. So I don't know what he meant there. But then we go to our fourth match, and this is where we get the AAA representation here.
What's left of it that
Yeah.
Conan didn't bring with him?
Exactly right.
The leftovers.
We have Hector Garza, who is Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo's uncle. And I may mispronounce this name, but Canik and Perro Aguayo versus...
Paraguay Senior.
Paraguay Senior versus... I don't know how to say these names.
Guerrera.
Guerrera, Juventude's father's here. Then we get a guy named Heavy Metal, and then Jerry Estrada. Whew, that's a lot of names. But I do want to point out, JR on commentary tells us that Perro Aguayo Jr. wrestled in a dark match before the Rumble, and he is only 17 years old. Unfortunately, he would pass away after an in-ring accident in a match with Rey Mysterio, and he was a pretty big star at the time, too.
He was, yeah. He wasn't, like, I actually watched some of his matches. He was that, he had that much appeal. Because I don't watch a lot of Lucha.
Yeah, I don't either. Now I only have to finish, so if you have anything you want to note.
No, this match sucked. No, I'm not. I don't want to talk about this match. The only good thing, I will say, Hector Garza hits the corkscrew, and that was nice.
And that's like the only thing he's really known for. Shortly after this, he goes to WCW, and that's what
he's better in WCW. But yeah, that's like the big spot in all of his matches.
Yeah, but the finish for this, Paraguayo Senior hits what we would eventually know when Finn Balor does it as the coup de grace. He hits that for the win. This match went 10 minutes and 56 seconds. There was some decent stuff here, but the crowd did not care a bit about this, which I bet surprised the WWF because they are close to Mexico where the AAA stars are. But this didn't really work out the way they intended. There were a lot of disjointed moments in this match and a lot of no selling of moves. And again, 10 minutes, 56 seconds. So I felt it was a little longer than it needed to be for wrestlers. We had no clue who they are. On a pay-per-view, we don't need this.
This is a 1-star.
I gave it 1 as well. This has nothing on the WCW Cruiserweight division.
No, and Dave also gave it a 1, so we're all in agreement. One of the rare times we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
1 star.
Wow.
Because like I said, it's the leftovers of AAA that Conan didn't take, so it's just, you didn't get the cream of the crop.
No, and if I was to rewatch the Royal Rumble or this Royal Rumble, I would skip that match. But next, what we have is the Royal Rumble match. We're not going to go over all the eliminations. We'll just highlight some noteworthy stuff here. The first 2 out are Crush and Ahmed Johnson.
Ahmed eliminates himself, too.
Yep. Well, the reason Ahmed does that is Farouk comes out as well with Crush. And so Ahmed Johnson stupidly eliminates himself to chase after Farouk.
Yeah. It's like, bro, I mean, like, logically, you could just go through the middle rope and chase and then come back, but no.
He's not the only person who's going to eliminate himself today either. We'll go to our next big name entrant. At number 5, Stone Cold comes out. He eliminates Phineas and Bart Gunn, and then he takes time to sit down on the top of the turnbuckle to check his wristband for the time. This is one of the famous gifs you see on the internet.
It's an iconic moment for Rumble moment.
Austin also eliminates Jake the Snake.
Which I like that because it's like, obviously they wrestled catering.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's a nice little callback to that. So, yeah, I do like that as well. Some other notable eliminations were when Owen Hart accidentally eliminates the British Bulldog. The British Bulldog was trying to eliminate Stone Cold, and Owen tried to help him, but during his help, he accidentally eliminated his partner. We'll see if that results in any issues between the two here in the next few weeks. Hint, it will. But out at number 11 is Mil Mascaras, who also eliminates himself by jumping out of the ring onto another AAA wrestler. And the story goes that Mascaras did this because he did not want anyone to eliminate him.
Yeah, I think that is true. I can't remember who. I didn't want to say it's Jim Ross or someone else, but they were like, yeah, he didn't want to lose, so essentially he just eliminated himself.
Another notable elimination is Goldust eliminates Hunter Hearst Helmsley to continue their feud. Owen Hart then eliminates Goldust. Farouk comes out at number 18. Ahmed Johnson runs back out with the 2x4 and eliminates Farouk. Stone Cold then eliminates Owen Hart, Mark Mero, Jesse James, and Savio Vega. So he eliminates Mark Mero, who he's had beef with, Savio Vega, who he had a feud with as well, and then he will have a future feud with Owen Hart. He's already sort of beginning that now. So a lot of stuff we're paying off here.
Max, when you're a Texas Rattlesnake, you kind of have beef with everybody.
That is true. But then out at number 21, we finally get what we've been waiting for this whole Royal Rumble for. Bret Hart comes out, and Austin is not happy. Another famous wrestling gif is Stone Cold's reaction to Bret Hart's music playing, which Stone Cold sells perfectly.
Yeah.
He puts over Bret Hart like $1 million there.
They instantly trade punches.
Absolutely. And at number 22, as these guys are wrestling in the ring, we get number 22, who is Jerry Lawler, and he's at the commentary table. So he takes off his jacket and reveals that he's wearing his wrestling gear. And he gets into the ring. Bret Hart quickly eliminates King, and a famous moment that they replay almost every year of King getting eliminated.
I love that spot. King and Bret Hart did that spot quite a few times where he punches them and Jerry Lawler does an exaggerated saddle over the top rope. It is so funny. And the fact that like it was like Lawler immediately got eliminated by that. It's funny.
Yeah, I gotta laugh at that too. And I love how King just went right back to the commentary table. It's overdone. I mean, not everyone can do that, but it works when King does it.
No, you gotta be a kind of comedic character like Jerry the King Lawler. It's great. All right, so Rocky Maivia comes out at 25. And as far as I'm aware on the major shows, I just wanted to take note of the potential first interaction between Stone Cold and The Rock.
And it should be noted.
It just feels like history in the making, you know?
In our opinion, is the best feud of all time between two wrestlers, in my opinion.
Between two wrestlers, yeah.
So it doesn't get bigger than that. And the first time they interact is here, so that's really cool. But out at number 26 is Mankind. At 28, we get Vader. And we get The Undertaker at number 30. Undertaker loves coming out last.
Look, man, he's in there for a good time, not a long time.
The Undertaker eliminates Mankind, and shortly after that, Bret Hart, air quotes, eliminates Stone Cold from the Royal Rumble, or at least that's what Bret Hart thought. The rest are out of position, so they do not see that Stone Cold was
What are they dealing with? They were dealing with something on the outside. Mankind eliminates Terry Funk, and they brawl on the outside. I don't think you can do that spot again now.
No, I don't think so either. I wouldn't play one today. But again, so the rest don't see Stone Cold was thrown out. So Stone Cold gets back into the ring. He eliminates Vader and The Undertaker, and then Bret Hart as well, and wins the Royal Rumble. But afterwards, Bret Hart gets into the ring. He rightly argues with the referees, and he is pissed off. He's shoving referees because he just got screwed. Bret then goes to Vince and shouts at him, but unfortunately, Bret Hart does not get what he wants, and Stone Cold is the official winner of the Royal Rumble. This was a better Rumble than last year's. Had a lot more names in it. Still not great list when you look at all the names in it, but it's better than last year for sure.
Oh, easy. And it's better than 95.
Yeah, and the whole match was built around Bret Hart, Stone Cold, and I think it delivered on their interactions. I think that worked. One other thing I would note that they didn't do a great job showing all the eliminations. They missed some here.
They did.
They need to get better there. There was also a rumor that Bret Hart was going to win this Royal Rumble, but on Livewire before the Royal Rumble, Vince Russo picked Bret Hart to win when they asked who would win the Royal Rumble, and supposedly Vince changed it due to that, but I think I have my doubts on that. I don't think that many people watch Livewire.
Yeah, they should be glad they didn't, because then they would have been handcuffed to give Bret a title shot, because obviously the plan was to do Bret Shawn again, but obviously that falls apart. We will go over why later.
I think it's well documented.
Yes, if you're not aware, we will cover in a future episode.
Yes. But for the Royal Rumble itself, I did rate that as well. I don't know if you did.
Yes,
I gave it 2 3/4.
Nah, man, I gave it a 3.
All right.
And Dave agrees with me. He gave it a 3.
All right. Well, we're right around the same page there. So
no, it was good. They did so many storylines in this match. It was good.
Yeah, it's solid, not great. If the roster was better, it probably would have ranked higher. So Stone Cold gets the win. Does he get a title shot for winning this way? We will see. But now we are on to the main event. It is Shawn Michaels with Jose Lothario versus Psycho Sid for the WWF Championship. To start, these two men get right in each other's face, and Sid shoves Shawn. Disrespectful. And as the match gets going, we see Jose Lothario's son is in the crowd. Remember, the week prior, Sid powerbombed this man. And he's younger than I thought. I think he's like 19. He looks a little older than that.
Dang.
Yeah, he's not that old. But back to the match, and we see Sid get Shawn in a bear hug for a while. Shawn is able to eventually get out of it, and he goes for the sweet chin music, but Sid catches Shawn's foot, and he tosses Shawn outside. Sid then powerbombs Shawn outside of the ring, and he grabs Jose Lothario, but Jose's son jumps over the barricade, and he tries to save his father, but Sid grabs him too. And before Sid can do anything to either one of them, Shawn Michaels gets up, and so Sid lets go with them so he can continue going after Shawn Michaels. The two men get back into the ring. Sid Irish whips Shawn into the ref, so we get a ref bump, and then he choke slams Shawn Michaels, and he goes for the pin, but again, the ref is down. We then see replacement ref Mike Chioda come down, and he counts the pin, but Shawn kicks out at 2. Sid is pissed at this, and he punches Mike Chioda, so now we need a replacement ref for the replacement ref. Jose Lothario gets on the apron to distract Psycho Sid, as we see Shawn Michaels grab the TV camera, and he hits Sid with it. Then we see the refs crawl over to count the pin, but Sid kicks out at 2.5. We get a false finish here. Shawn Michaels gets up, he tunes up the band, and he hits sweet chin music for the win. The hometown boy wins his second WWF title. The match was 13 minutes and 49 seconds, which was a little shorter than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, pretty short.
And I would say this is not as good as their Survivor Series match. Supposedly, Shawn Michaels had been battling the flu coming into this one, so that may explain it.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But at the very least, the crowd loved Shawn and they went home happy. But overall, I did give this match a 2 1/4 star.
I give it 2.5, and they give it a 2.
I wouldn't say it's bad, but I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, no, not bad. Not bad. For this show, there was really 2 things that carried it. So overall, I gave it a 6.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely not a great show overall. And I had higher expectations coming in. And most of the matches were not great. In fact, I don't think any of the matches here are actually great at all. They have decent matches, but nothing that's really worth watching again. So this makes 2 subpar pay-per-views for WWF in a row. But luckily, things will be picking up here soon. And I gave this pay-per-view a 5 out of 10.
Thanks.
But again, business will be picking up here for the WWF soon. Continue watching with us. That is it for our Royal Rumble review. Let us know what you think of it. Was it better than 1996 to you? Stay tuned for next week when we review January 20th, 1997, the head-to-head between Raw and Nitro.